In September 2019, in the midst of my first college semester, I attended my first Elevate. Elevate is a small gathering of a group called Chi Alpha, a campus ministry. Over the next 5 months, I made new friendships and built relationships stronger than I've ever had before. I've been on multiple amazing trips with Chi Alpha so far, including road trips to Moab, Utah, Page, Arizona, Lake Powell, and California. After a few months with Chi Alpha, I heard about a mission trip to Mexico that they go on every year. A lot of my friends had gone on it in previous years, and I was stoked to go from the beginning. On the Embry-Riddle Chi Alpha website, under the Mexico mission trip description, it is stated, "It'll be 3 days that we'll never regret, filled with stories we'll tell again and again." That, along with stories that I've already been told about this mission, had me sold. So, in March this year, over spring break, I went on a mission trip to San Luis, Mexico. The mission trip consisted of 2 days of travel and 2 days of giving and service. We served and brought the gospel to people with stories of indescribable difficulty, people who are less fortunate, people who need to be loved. This is where we were needed, so that's where we went. The people of San Luis have next to nothing. Once we crossed the border, it was a whole different world. And so, we began our journey to San Luis, Mexico.
Has Macy left yet with the group?
I rode with 4 of my friends down to San Luis.
You're picking up the bruise, yeah?
We finally made it across the border after a 6-hour drive and got some authentic Mexican street tacos.
I don't understand.
After arriving at the Oasis Boys Home, the orphanage that we were staying at, we played soccer with some of the boys and then set up our hammocks, where we would sleep for the next 3 days. We began each morning with a Bible study before breakfast. Then we set off to our first outreach.
Salvador lo vio y le dijo, ve Saqueo, bájate de ahí.
Once we got back to the orphanage, we repainted the walls and gates, as well as fixed a damaged roof. That night we visited a refugee center. One of the refugees told me a story about his time in Cuba and how it is nothing like what it seems. His emotion while reliving these events was indescribable. Later, we all went out to a churro stand and got the best churros known to man. They were amazing.
I know where it is.
The night came to a close as we all played card games back at the orphanage. After breakfast each morning, we sang a few songs before setting out on our next adventure. On the second day, the first thing on the agenda was church. We sang some songs before the service, and when the pastor came up, those of us in the children's ministry went out to play with the kids. Here's us standing outside of an OXXO, basically the 7-Eleven of Mexico.
Out of curiosity,
We ended that day with our third and final community outreach. This one was my favorite. Being able to put smiles on these kids' faces and bring them joy is incomparable to anything.
Shotgun.
So the Princess Cup. All right, guys. Thank you.
Hey, cuidado.
The next morning, we said goodbye to the boys at Oasis and headed home. It took us 4 hours to get through the border, but we made the most out of it. This mission trip gave me an entirely new perspective on life. There's nothing more satisfying than serving and loving others like Jesus would. It was truly unlike anything I'd ever done before. I can't wait till next year.